Let's call this General Committee meeting of the St. Bernard Parish School Board. First, we'll open with prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather together this evening and focus on the needs of the children in our parish. As we continue to focus on the coming school year, we thank you for our teachers and administrators who are continuing to learn in workshops and classes this summer about the ways to best meet the needs of our students. We are grateful for their commitment and dedication. We are grateful, too, for our support staff that is working hard each day to ready our schools for another opening that is now just 4 weeks away for our teachers. Help us to be mindful of our children in all of our efforts, with an aim to make the 2014-15 school year a successful one for our district. These things we ask in your name.
Amen. Ms. Acevedo, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Superintendent Boche, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Acevedo?
Here.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Fata?
Here.
Mr. Egan?
Here.
Mr. England?
Here.
Mrs. Dysart? Here. Dr. Pratt?
Here.
Dr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Nikosha?
Here.
Mr. Warren?
Here. Full house.
Dr. Graham.
Yes.
Have
Okay, you have a
Point of privilege,
person
please.
privilege.
At this time, before we begin our regular agenda, I would like to take a moment of silence for one of our teachers' husbands who passed, Lindy Kuki Sinez's husband, David Sinez Jr., passed away, and I'd like to take a moment of silence for Lindy and the Sinez family, please. Thank you, and our deepest condolences and sympathies go out to the Sinez family. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you,
Brown.
Ms. Dysart, for bringing this to our attention. Before we go to item 4, we have 2 newspaper reporters with us, Mr. Chad West with the St. Bernard Voice and Mr. Brett Pritchard with the St. Bernard Post, I believe it is, right? So welcome to our meeting. So we'll move the agenda to item 4, recognition of the state and national Special Olympics participants. Ms. Jeremy Kirsch is the supervisor of that program, and we welcome you here.
Thank you,
So
Dr. Kraft. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. Again, my name is Sharon McHurth, and I am the supervisor of special education for St. Bernard Parish School System. As all games begin with a good pep talk, so does Special Olympics. The official oath of the Special Olympic Games sums up the true joy of our competition. Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. The St. Bernard Parish School System has sponsored the Special Olympics track and field local and state games for about 25 years. At the local events, which is held at Sherman High School, our athletes compete in the softball throw, stand and long jump, various distance races, and/or walks. In an effort to include all athletes, we have additional events not sponsored by the state competition, but so that all of our children are included. Along with the official local games t-shirt, all of our athletes earn ribbons. This year was our largest local games competition with 92 athletes signed up to compete. Sherman High School students, better known as the Buddies, assisted the athletes with each event. Although the games are about competition, this event also gives the athletes and the Buddies teachable moments about positive interactions with peers. The state games sponsor these students through the group known as Project Unified, which essentially serves the same purpose. Some 100 volunteers, including the school board members and employees, the sheriff's office, parish government workers and officials, several civic groups, and private businesses all took some part in coordinating the 2014 spring competition. The event directors are Paul Fry and Robin Detweiler. Together with our awesome events management team, this event was, again, extremely successful. I would like to ask the volunteer committee to stand and be recognized. You have to just step in for a second. This group meets at least 10 times prior to the local events, and then probably 10 times after the local events before the state events. So I would like to thank you guys.
You want to
from the bottom of my
introduce
heart.
them, Ms. Kirk?
Sure. Y'all want to come up and just say who you are? I'd like to introduce them, but I think it'd be better if they do themselves.
I'm Robin Detwiller.
Donna Schultz, Christy Fry, Kim Jones.
Alvin Jones.
Thank you. From our local event, those who qualify are invited to compete at the state games on the last weekend in May at Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond. This was a very special year for our state delegation team. The team traveled to Hammond in style in a chartered bus. And I want you to know that it was sponsored in part, well, mostly, exactly, all in part, by Mr. Richard Nealon, who is with us tonight. Mr. Nealon, would you please stand? I am proud to report that this team of 22 athletes earned a total of 12 gold, 14 silver, 4 bronze medals, 7 fourth-place ribbons, 3 fifth-place ribbons, and 1 sixth-place ribbon. In addition, Alexis Hernandez qualified for a spot on Team Louisiana and competed in June at the 2014 USA Games in New Jersey. She was one of the youngest athletes, earning 2 fourth-place medals and 1 sixth-place medal, respectively. On behalf of the entire delegation, we would like to give special thanks to our superintendent, Ms. Doris Foche, our assistant superintendent, Ms. Beverly Larson, the entire school board, our community sponsors, the incredible volunteers, and our parents of these talented athletes. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll begin with the proclamations at this time.
Ms. Dysart?
All right,
you
at this
read the
time, we
names?
would like to present the proclamations for outstanding performance as members of the St. Bernard Parish Public Schools Special Olympics State Team. And as we announce your name, if you would please come up. Dr. Kraft will be giving you your certificate, and all the board members would like to shake your hand to congratulate you. First, we have Matthew Davis, and he earned a gold medal in a 50-meter race, a silver medal in a 100-meter race, and a fourth-place ribbon in the softball throw. Next, we have Hannah Duyon, and she earned a 5th-place ribbon in the softball throw. Great job. Congratulations. Bailey Eddings could not be here tonight, but she earned a bronze medal in the 50-meter race. Taylor Fontenot earned a 4th-place ribbon in the softball throw, a 5th-place ribbon in the 100-meter race, and a 6th-place ribbon in the 200-meter race. Great job. Congratulations. Justin Frazier earned a silver medal in the standing long jump and a silver medal in the 100-meter race. Congratulations. Joshua Hebert earned a silver medal in a standing long jump. Congratulations. Alexis Hernandez earned a bronze medal in the standing long jump, a silver medal in the 50-meter race, and a silver medal in the 200-meter race. Good job. Stephen Hernandez earned a fourth ribbon in a 50-meter race. Congratulations. Talis Johnson earned a silver medal in a 50-meter race and a bronze medal in a softball throw. Great job. Adam Jones earned a silver medal in a 50-meter race, a gold medal in a softball throw, and a gold medal in the 25-meter race. Great job. Barnaby Landry earned a gold medal in the standing long jump and a gold medal in a 400-meter race. He's not here? Okay. Well, congratulations to Barnaby. Dane Mannett earned a silver medal in a 200-meter race and a gold medal in a 400-meter race. Great job. Devin Miller is not with us tonight, but Devin earned a fourth place ribbon in the 100-meter race and a fourth place ribbon in a 200-meter race. Brighton Navarro earned a fifth place ribbon in the standing long jump. Great job. Brandon Oliveri is not with us tonight, but Brandon earned a silver medal in a softball throw and a bronze medal in the 100-meter race. Sean Pierce is not with us, but Sean earned a silver medal in the softball throw. Bryn Placia is not here tonight, but she earned a gold medal in the softball throw and a gold medal in a 25-meter race. And just a reminder, all of these fine athletes, this is a state competition, so they did great. Okay, Brian Schultz earned a silver medal in a 50-meter race, a fourth place ribbon in a 100-meter race, and a fourth place ribbon in the softball throw. Deja Turner earned a silver medal in the 50-meter race. Congratulations. Good job, Deja. Jaquan Webb earned a gold medal in the 50-meter race. Great job. That was fantastic. Brendan Whitmore earned a gold medal in the 200-meter race. Great job. Healthy children. Austin Wolf earned a silver medal in the standing long jump, a gold medal in the softball throw, and a gold medal in the 400-meter race. But Austin's not with us. Congratulations to Austin. And here is Miss Alexis Hernandez, who participated in the USA Games in Trenton, New Jersey. And Miss Alexis earned a 4th-place medal in the 200-meter race, a 4th-place medal in the mini javelin, and a 6th-place medal in the 100-meter race as a representative of the St. Bernard Parish Public Schools Special Olympics team. Rebecca Fry was an outstanding performer and helper as Project Unified partner of the Special Olympics team state competition. Rebecca's here? She's not here. Okay. Emily Jones was also a Project Unified partner and has helped many years with Special Olympics. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Thank you. All of you.
Thank you so much.
Ashlyn Nicosia was also a Project Unified partner, but Ashlyn is not with us. But thank you, Ashlyn, for your participation and your help. Harley Taylor is a Project Unified partner. Thank you, Harley. Thank you. Victoria DePietro was also a Project Unified partner but could not be here tonight. Thank you, Victoria. Elizabeth Hernandez is a Project Unified partner. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Julia Mahler is a Project Unified partner. Thank you, Julia. Emily Pulley is a Project Unified partner. Thank you, Emily. Thank you. Sarah Mellerine is a Unified partner, and thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Bob.
Ms. Dysart, before we move on, I just wanted to let you guys know that they've been inspired. The Unified team has been so inspired that they began a club at Shuman High School to support. So we have our president here today, Emily. And if you just want to kind of just quickly tell them what you guys did, and their sponsor, Christy Fry.
And Robin Devlin.
And Robin, I'm sorry, I didn't know Robin.
Hi, so I'm Emily. I'm president of the club at school, and it's basically just to kind of get the kids involved. I mean, they know what it is to have special needs kids around all the time, but I don't really think they understand what it is to kind of live with them. And coming from somebody that has a sibling, we just want to get them involved. So we're going to start a club at school, and it's going to be where we're going to have sponsored field trips for them to go and learn about special needs, all the different kinds of qualities that they have, because there's so many. They're going to be spending time at lunch with them on the weekdays when they're free, just to kind of spend some time with them and see what it's like. And then we're also going to be kind of getting ready for the Special Olympics at school so that they're more prepared for it. So they're not going in, oh, I have a kid, I don't really know what it is. Just so that they kind of have it. And it kind of just, it brings the kids together at school. It makes them really understand what it's like to have special needs kids around.
Emily, to you and all of the volunteers, we appreciate all of your time and your efforts, and I know the students do also. Thank you so much. It's great that y'all contribute and help the Special Olympics team. Thank you very much. All of you. Okay, is Mr. Fry? Is Mr. Fry here tonight? Okay. Well, we would like to tell Mr. Fry thank you for all of his hard work, and he's an outstanding. He has an outstanding contribution as a coach, earning 12 gold medals, 14 silver medals, 4 bronze medals, 7 fourth-place ribbons, 3 fifth-place ribbons, and 1 sixth-place ribbon. And to all the coaches and all the adults, we want to congratulate you and thank you for all of your hard work with the students. Thank you. Also, one of the coaches, Donna Schultz. And Donna's here tonight. Thank you, Donna. For an outstanding contribution as a coach, we have Robin Detwiller. Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. For outstanding contribution as a coach, Christy Fry. Thank you so much. Okay, and another outstanding coach is Nicole Sensibi, but Nicole's not here tonight, but thank you. Also, we had Mary Miller, who is not here tonight, but thank you to Mary. Carolyn Collada was also a bus driver and assistant for the Special Olympics team. We thank you, Carolyn. And Marilyn Ruiz was a bus driver and assistant for the Special Olympics teams. And again, we want to congratulate all of our fine athletes, to all the coaches, and to the parents, congratulations. And to you, Ms. Kerr, thank you for heading up a wonderful program. We appreciate it. And to Mr. Moon Island, we appreciate your contribution in contributing the funds for the bus. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Thanks for all of y'all for coming tonight.
Recognize Superintendent Bochet at this point. Before you leave.
Yeah, and before y'all leave, I just want to add, you know, this is probably one of the most inspiring and wonderful events that we have during the course of the school year. And we want to thank the parents and the coaches and especially our young athletes, because going out there, and I missed it this year because I had a meeting in Baton Rouge, but I'm normally there every year. And it is, I guess, an event where we see so many young people coming together. We have our project volunteers, we have the buddies from Chalmette High School, and all of the young Olympians. And we feel that this is, I guess, an event that if we would choose maybe our top 5 for the year, this would be way up there in the top. Going on to state competition and then having someone going to national is just absolutely wonderful. But I think what has come out of it this year, and Emily, who talked with us about forming the club at Chalmette High School, and I saw Ms. Detwiller and Ms. Fry, I'm assuming who will be some of the sponsors, the adult and teacher sponsors of the club. That is just an unbelievable club that is going to come about because of this. And I think on that particular campus, then we're going to see a lot more interaction of all of our students. And I think that is probably the best thing that is coming out of this whole experience this year. So I'm looking forward to the development of the club, and anything that we can do to help that club flourish, please let us know, because we will support it tremendously. So thank all of you again for your efforts.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher. Any other board members? We thank all the participants in the Special Olympics. We thank Ms. Jeremy Kirsch for her leadership, and thank all of you that's been involved to make this a worthwhile endeavor. It's been very inspirational, and I was there at the last one, and it's really, really touching to see these young people put their heart and soul into achievement. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Okay, Adam.
All right, as we move the agenda, we turn the next item over to Dr. Lewis, the Education Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Item 5, 2011-2016 Strategic Plan, Action Plan Update. We have Ms. Lawson with us this evening. Good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have for you this evening, as we have every year this time, an update on the district's strategic plan for this coming school year. As you know, we are operating, trying to move our district forward in relation to the goals that are addressed on the first page. And what follows is the action plan that we will be following this year as we continue our drive to meet those goals. The nice thing is, because over the past several years of the forward movement of our school district, we've been pretty consistent with our strategic plan, because many of the things that we're doing, we are meeting with success in the school district, and we want to keep certainly on that pathway. But I'll go over it with you, the changes, and if you have questions, certainly you can ask those as we go through. On the first page, if you look, we typically reference PARC assessments or LEAP assessments, and since we are unsure exactly what assessment the state will be asking us to administer in the spring, we just talk in terms of state proficiency on the state assessment. So that's the only change there. As we go to the next page and we look at goals for our preschool students, we want to certainly make sure that there's an emphasis on phonics and phonemic awareness, because those are the very basic foundational skills for our preschool students. That's not to say that that is not being done currently, because as we know, Ms. Siebert and her group do an excellent job in getting our students ready for kindergarten. But just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, moving in the same direction, we have committed that there to writing. As we look at the next page, we continue all of our efforts with response to intervention in trying to address those students who may be falling through the cracks and helping them to achieve on grade level as best we can with designated interventions for the students, but no changes there. As we flip to the next page, you'll know that we highlight our teachers implementing our Springboard curriculum with fidelity. That's one thing that, in order for us to be successful in our move forward, not just with Springboard at the middle and high school level, but also with core knowledge and Eureka Math at the elementary level, that it is 100% effort on the part of every teacher to implement those programs with fidelity, so that we can indeed make sure that those programs are successful for our students. And so that is written in there. As you flip to the next page, you'll see that we talk about Springboard once again, but at the bottom we talk about our Jump Start program. And if you will remember, earlier in the spring I came and talked to you about Jump Start and how that is defining the new career pathway for our students as they continue to make their plans to graduate from high school. So we've added that as part of our action plan this year, as Jumpstart is a new initiative for us. As we flip again to the next page regarding teachers and teacher effectiveness, if you'll remember last summer, we brought in Teachscape, which is the professional development arm of the Danielson rubric that is used for teacher evaluation, and trained our principals in the use of the Compass rubric so that it would be a consistent implementation across the district. This summer, we have the opportunity for our administrators to calibrate their skills, just a refresher course. So that's something that we have offered to them, and that is added to our strategic work this summer. As we go to the next page and we talk about professional development, most of those activities will continue, and if you remember, I came before you last month and talked about the myriad PD opportunities that are going on. We began one big program this past Monday, the Math Science Partnership, with our grade 3 through 5 teachers. Have about 50 teachers sitting there really studying the curriculum and the best way to implement the higher standards for our students in their classrooms. We begin the Believe and Prepare program, which is our in-house teacher certification program, next Monday. So the PD Center at Chalmette Elementary certainly is getting a workout this summer with all of the things that we discussed with you last month. As you flip to the next page, we mentioned the Believe and Prepare program because that is a new avenue for our school district to recruit and certify teachers to make sure that we have very effective, highly qualified teachers in our classrooms. As we move to District Goal 3, where we talk about responsible finances and responsive support services, we certainly will continue to upgrade the business operations software. If you remember, we came and talked to you just last month about the absentee program and some of the related software there, so that's added to our work this year. Goal 3.2, or Objective 3.2 rather, we will continue our work on the facilities such as at Chalmette High School and Momus in the continuing year. Objective 3.3, we will continue our partnership with LSU that has a presence with counseling services in all of our schools, and with Methodist that runs our school-based health center at Chalmette High School. As we look at District Objective 3.4, we will continue to work with our teachers and students to maintain what we feel are pretty rigorous yet successful behavioral standards for our students. And then District Goal 4, we will continue to survey our parents and students, and then to work with them to get information to them, to work with our partners at the Sheriff's Office to continue to make sure we have very viable crisis plans and those things in place as our school year approaches. And finally, to make sure that we try to get the word out as often as we can about all of these good things going on in our school district and the successes that we are able to celebrate with the community as a result of the hard work of our teachers and administrators and support staff. So not a lot of changes, just some tweaks, but we've talked with our principals and teachers and stakeholders about this and have just brought it to you for your collaboration and approval as well.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson, and thank you for a very comprehensive district strategic plan. And, you know, just as I look at the changes, Jumpstart, Springboard, it's just evident that those things that we need to address in the district to move the district forward and to remain in the A district is being addressed in this plan. And so that's great. So thank you. Any board members with questions? Anyone? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second at this time. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you very much.
All right, next item on the agenda is a executive item. We have Mr. Long.
Okay, item 6, personnel changes, and we have Mr. Granberry with us. This is for our information only.
Well, you can see we made progress. We had 6 appointments and only 5 resignations. It's not working out good.
So we still have some positions to fill,
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Granberry?
If we know any math teachers out there anywhere, we'll be glad to talk to them.
Certified secondary.
Certified secondary. Not middle school math. They have to be able to teach the algebra, so they have to be secondary certified.
Okay.
And then you pick up some shockers like this evening. I got the last resignation as a biology teacher, which is not the easiest thing to find. So,
Right.
but we're making a little progress. A step forward, 2 steps back, then 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So we'll get it eventually.
Yeah, as always.
We have a month.
You always seem to have all our positions filled by the time school opens. Any questions?
I have a question.
Ms. Dysart?
Mr. Granberry, on the one transfer, the data and interventions coordinator, that's a replacement for?
Well, that was another position.
That's when Ms. Cooper retired a year
Okay.
ago.
Yes.
We didn't replace it as a supervisor. We waited a year to look to see what our needs are. That person's going to be working at the middle and high school level with data, professional development, and curriculum. So it is if you want to look at a replacement for the position that has remained vacant over a year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Granberry? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Granberry. Okay. Okay, moving on to item 7, 2014-2015 transportation routes, and we have Dr. Gonzalez with us.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
So you have the floor.
Well, thank you. The routes this year are the same as last year. We're not repicking routes. The only changes really are that we've added some additional students from the start of last year to the start of this year. We've picked up more students, and we have, now this is subject to change, and we'll have new people register, and we will move bus stops based upon like where pre-K and kindergarten students live, so that it can, I know we will have some changes, but compared to last year, we have 55 more stops, we'll drive 15 more miles, and we'll have 653 more students than last year. So, but the routes themselves are, pretty much the same as last year. Okay. And now for the bad news. Okay. I just found out about a week and a half ago that there's a new law, a new act that went into effect that the governor signed on June 18th. And it was an attempt by a New Orleans legislator to try to prevent an accident that happened with the little boy on Parish Avenue that ran across the streets and was hit and killed by a car. And in an effort to try to create some legislation that would never let that happen again, it fell apart, and it was only supposed to be for the larger districts, Orleans and Baton Rouge, and somehow or another it became inclusive of every district in the state. And the new law now states that students cannot cross in front of a school bus anymore. And the routes that I just gave you are based upon us making stops on the students crossing in front of the bus. The commercial driver's license manual has instructions for how you safely cross students. Students are supposed to wait for a hand motion. The drivers are supposed to check their mirrors to make sure nobody's going around them, to look ahead and make sure that nobody is running stop signs coming from the front. And when it's clear motion by a hand motion that it's safe for the students to cross. Well, as it stands right now, students will not be allowed to cross in front of a school bus. And additionally, it's been put in the legislation that if drivers are on a highway and there's room on the shoulder, all the stops now have to be on highways, have to be on the shoulder of the road. Now, we always stopped on the highway and put stop signs out, and all the traffic had to stop. We have different opinions. State law, revised statute 3280 says that drivers have to stop at least 30 feet away from the bus, front and back of the bus, when the stop signs of a bus go out. But, you know, we have an opinion from one of our transportation individuals, George Horn, actually, who does our in-service. He's a retired Jefferson transportation supervisor, and he cited revised statute 3280C that exempts motorists from stopping when buses are stopped in a loading zone, and this law makes the shoulder of the road a loading zone. So it appears that drivers on the highway won't have to stop, and that the buses are supposed to pull to the shoulder and dropping off students, which means this law, what it intended to do, it has had, you know, a really adverse effect that's going to be terrible for us. Now, the repercussions of that would mean that if this law stands as it is, then we would either have to have every bus go up and down the streets twice and pick up students only on one side, which would significantly lengthen the workday of the drivers, the time on the routes, and the fuel and wear and tear that we do on the buses. You know, hypothetically, we could have a driver go up the street and pick up students, and then they have to find a place to turn around. They're not supposed to back up because they have a minimum of a 150-foot blind spot directly behind the bus. So that would require them to have to go to other streets to get the bus repositioned to come back down. So if they were coming back down the street, but they missed a child the first time going down the street who wasn't out, they'd have to pass him up. So unless they went down the streets, turned around, and came back up again for the third time. So we would be looking at, if it stands like it is, we can't do these routes the way they are right now, unless we alter the times of schools and make them significantly, you know, longer periods of time between the schools, or we move everything to corners and try not to go down any streets, and we just stop on both sides of the corner so nobody had to cross the street. On a rainy day schedule, if we have to go up and down every street and drop off every student with the door facing their home, we might get elementary school students to school by 9 or 9:30. We may get them picked up in the afternoons by 5 or 6 by the time we finish door to door for everybody, running every route twice. So we don't know what's going to happen yet. I did receive a letter that the Attorney General is supposed to give an opinion, and we'll see what that turns out to be, whether he interprets it as the drivers can't stop with the door on the right side. It wasn't the intent of the legislator who wrote the law. I did speak to Senator Crow, who said that they had no idea that, I mean, the wording changed. That's not how it started out. The bill changed significantly from what it was. They all thought they were voting on something good and didn't realize all the language had changed, and it's actually not a good thing anymore. So what I'm asking you to approve tonight is just contingent upon an Attorney General opinion that would allow us to still have students cross in front of the bus and on subdivision streets. And also, I don't see anything being addressed about making stops on a highway. I'm going to have to go measure the highway on Judge Perez and see if a bus can fit adequately enough, because I wouldn't want 18-wheelers driving past the bus whose mirrors are going to hit the bus, because the driver couldn't get far enough off the road. So I know there's really not much space on the St. Bernard Highway. So if you don't have a shoulder, you don't have to do it. So I'm going to have to measure along Judge Perez and see if we can safely get a bus completely off where, and it's still dangerous, because like if, a child gets out the bus and the paper blows out in their hand, don't think they're not running after it. And when they step in front of the bus onto the street, the traffic will be moving now. So, that's where we are.
All right, and as Dr. Gonzalez said at first, this was a legislator in Orleans Parish as a result of a child being killed running across the boulevard. He introduced the bill. It was intended initially to be for big cities with divided streets. with medians or neutral grounds down the middle. Sometime during the process, it was amended, and legislators were not aware of what they were voting on. And it got passed both the House and the Senate very quickly without anyone being aware of the repercussions. Now, subsequent to that, both the Superintendent's Association and the School Board Association have been working on trying to see what we can do to mitigate the consequences of this particular act. Since it was signed by the governor, it is the law. So the next step was to talk in terms of intent by the legislators, and the author of the bill on the House side and one of the main authors on the Senate side, or supporters on the Senate side, Senator Murray from New Orleans, who's really been a very good friend to, education, are supposed to be in consultation with the Attorney General. They're going to talk a little bit about intent, and then hopefully the Attorney General will then issue some type of an opinion to see how this law will be interpreted for this year. If we're talking about divided boulevards, we don't see much changing. We're going to have to deal with that. Regular streets, you could just go down a regular street. We are hoping the interpretation will come out that it was not applicable to that. So you wouldn't have to go both up and down the street, or tell kids and parents the stops will be further from your house. You will have to walk to designated corners, because we won't be able to go up and down every street and still make reasonable times for schools to open and close. The shoulder of the road situation is iffy. So both the School Board Association, because I've been in discussions with Scott Richard, and the Superintendent's Association, we're trying to work with those legislators and the Attorney General to see if we can get an interpretation of that particular statute, which will allow, in our case, these particular routes to go forward as is. If not, we will have to come back to the board prior to the opening of school with modifications that hopefully will not involve changing school times at the last minute. But we will have to weigh factors about what is going to be the least detrimental. If we change times rather than letting kids and parents and faculty members and everybody sit there waiting and waiting for children to arrive, because we will have to follow that particular law. So we want to get on with the business. Hopefully we'll have some indication by the regular meeting in July. If not, it's got to be prior to the opening of school, which we would have a meeting prior to that in August that we could make some adjustments if we did a special meeting and had to do something different. So as of right now, we're not going to make any changes until we get an interpretation of the existing statute.
Well, Ms. Voce, all I can say is I can see where this is gonna impact every parish in the state.
It is. Everyone is up in arms.
And you're talking about as many miles as we traveled last year transporting children. You're talking about almost doubling our transportation miles?
That's possible. Doubling the mileage, increasing costs. That's from the financial end of it. And then from the, the curriculum end and the quality of life issue on the other side, there's going to be severe negative impacts as well.
I personally can't see how this can be implemented. I mean, it would just be too much of a burden. I think when these legislators start hearing from the people and if the parents especially, if their children can't even be picked up close to their home, I think their phones are going to be ringing off the hook.
I don't think anyone realizes the full impact of this if it has to be implemented as we think it's written at the moment. Hopefully we'll get, as we said, a favorable interpretation, which will mitigate some of the issues that we think we have at this point.
Mr. Egan, you have a question?
If I understand the way this new law is, as an attorney, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The children, I want to make sure I understand it. They're going to get off the bus. They're going to have to walk the length of the bus to the back of the bus to cross the street.
They can't cross the street at
They're
all.
not supposed to cross the street
They're not
at all.
supposed to cross the street. And that's the reason for us going up the
Up and
same
down.
street twice.
Yes.
Okay.
This, as Dr. Gonzalez has said too, it's bad enough in a neighborhood street, which would increase our cost and such, but if you get in a highway situation and you're not able to put that arm of that bus out to stop traffic in both directions, if you're letting out on the side of the highway, and that child does decide to cross the street, maybe he's not supposed to, but he does. That's a much more dangerous situation than what we have now.
Well,
And
that's
as an
all I-
attorney, you can see from the school system's
all you
point
need.
of view, potential liability issues if we don't follow it to the letter.
Oh, definitely. That would be sufficient to show a negligence on our part by a violation of the statute. But I just, wonderful people we have up there in Baton Rouge. Thank you.
Mr. Isart, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Long. It seems as though it would not only be a safety nightmare, but also a logistic nightmare. And, you know, if we have to increase the distance of our pickups from home to home on the streets for the little ones, you know, parents are really going to be upset. And it, you know, safety-wise, it's not in the best interest of a student. And just envisioning like a bus pulling off on St. Bernard Highway, and like onto the shoulder, and you have not one lane, but 2 lanes of traffic moving.
And
So,
trying to get the bus back into
Yeah.
traffic safely as
Right.
it's.
It just seems like it's much more dangerous if the interpretation is such.
We would lose a lot of time because right now, when the drivers stop on the highway and their stop signs go out, they're on the highway, so when they put the stop signs on, they continue to roll. If they have to pull to the shoulder of the road, they're not going to, it's questionable whether they have to use stop signs. One interpretation is you do, and one interpretation is you don't because you've made it a loading area by virtue of making that the shoulder stop. Well, if we don't have even if we had stop signs, the minute you put the stop signs in, the traffic rolls.
Right.
Buses are going to have to wait till they have enough clearance to come from a dead stop to pull into the traffic. And you know,
That's a hazard.
we have traffic on Judge Perez that's 35, 45, and 55 miles per hour. You know, there's an inherent danger in pulling the bus out, and the buses have no pickup. So they'll have to wait a long period of time till they have they have no pickup, you've been in them. Okay, you have to wait until there's a long opening for you to pull in that you can get your speed up and then to pull over again. We never did, state law already says that traffic doesn't have to stop where you have a neutral ground. So like places like Colonial and Dubuchel, we never did let students cross those streets. We had to go down one side and come around up the other side because state law already says that you can't, or traffic on the other side isn't required to stop. So we never did do the situation where the child was killed. We never did do that setup. So this is, it's going to be, and again, like I said, on a rainy day, we go door to door for every child in the school system that we can put a bus down. We go door to door, but if you have to go door to door for every child and go down every street twice,
Every day.
they'll never get to school.
No.
And in the afternoons, teachers will be on duty for very extended periods of time, and children will get home extremely late in the afternoons, especially the elementary, who are the last group to get picked up.
The bill may have been good intentions, but
It fell apart.
It fell apart, yeah. Well, and then the arm in front of the buses that we always.
Useless.
They're useless.
Take
at
them off
that
the buses.
point. But I know, when they first started adding the arms to the new buses, we wanted to always make sure the arms, we were buying buses that had the safety arm, so the
It's
students.
state law.
Yeah.
You can't order a bus without the crossing arm in the front. In fact, one of the transportation supervisors sent out an email and said, I guess we don't need crossing arms anymore. And you know what? If this bill holds, you don't. Of course, state law says you have to have it, so we'd have to put it on the bus. But we wouldn't use it.
you couldn't
We
use it.
really wouldn't even need stop signs anymore. Hardly, well, you'd still need it even with the right side, but you would significantly decrease the need to do the safety things that we do now would a lot of that would be gone.
Would it be beneficial for us to do some kind of a proclamation to our legislative delegation? I know we've made calls, but, and the Attorney General, I know, is reviewing it, but I mean, have you gotten
The
any kind of
legislators at this
timeframe?
point can do nothing until the next session,
Okay.
because it's already been signed into law by the governor. So they can do absolutely nothing to correct any of these issues by statute until next spring. So it all will fall back on intent of legislation and the interpretation of the Attorney General, is the interpretation he's willing to put out. Now, and then, of course, we know those are opinions, and if there are any accidents which occur, I'm sure there'll be attorneys out there who will say, well, that was only an opinion, you know, and so, but that is the best case scenario that we can hope for at the moment, is to come out with at least a favorable opinion by the Attorney General based on the intent of the legislators who proposed the bill.
And what about a time frame for the decision or the opinion of the Attorney General?
Well, we're being told that we're hoping to expedite an opinion prior to the opening of school.
Prior to the opening?
Right. We have to know something.
Hopefully
Normally in
soon.
this,
Hopefully
if
soon.
I can butt in, normally in these type of things, where it's something with the you know, the date where we're gonna have to be using this and using this wonderful new law, they will put it on a fast route. And here, you know, the Attorney General, you can rest assured will have something to give us enough time to do what we have to do. But, of course, like Ms. Roche said, the legislators now can't do a thing about it. It is the law. It's been signed by the governor. So, unfortunately.
Is that it, Ms. Dyson?
Yes, thank you.
That's all.
Mr. England?
Thank you.
Ms. Dice already answered my questions right there, but as far as, can we still get a letter out to the Attorney General to just let him know that this board's opposed to this legislation? Or this new law?
Well, I think he's aware because the School Board Association and the Superintendent's Association, who's speaking for everyone, has done that.
Okay.
I don't know, you know, Mr. Egan, I don't know if it would do any good to try to influence him at that point or to send a separate resolution up. I'm sure he's going to read it or have his staff read it and come out with an interpretation.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Craig?
Yes, as we just alluded to, the Attorney General's opinion in case of an accident would not keep us from certain liabilities that we would be responsible for. The act, what's the number of the act?
600?
It's, yeah, it was, the actual act is revised statute 17:158J and 3996B34.
Yeah, obviously with so many conflicting things in the law, it's overall what you consider a bad law. I wonder if a judge could overturn it based on what's within the law. If a class action suit by the various school boards could, and that would be the force of law if the courts acted. I don't have too much confidence in Attorney General opinions. So maybe we need to explore.
Well, if I can tell you, no, in that situation, what you say, Doc, that would not, couldn't be done by the judge, okay? The judge has to interpret the law, and even if he don't agree with the law or feels that it's not a good law, if it's written that way, that's the way he has to, is to make his decisions. So, you know, unless it's unconstitutional or it's prejudicial, which would be unconstitutional to certain people, the judge could not say, hey, I think this is a horrible law that's been passed. He has to apply to the law that, you know, has been passed by our legislature and signed by our governor.
But on the other hand, Mr. Egan, if it negates another law that was not included in this particular law, like the arm that goes out. They didn't mention that. And of course, that's, you said, was on the rolls as a statute already.
Yes.
So I'm quite sure it conflicts with quite a few other laws. And judges don't look too kindly when a law is verbalized or written in a certain way that it negates other laws without stating it specifically in that particular law. So might be something we can explore at least.
I don't think it's going to, it's not going to hold water.
Well, over the,
That's it.
you know, over
Okay.
the, over the next 2 weeks, prior to the actual board meeting itself, we should be getting some indication, and we're gonna stay on top of it, Dr. Kraft, and report back to y'all. And hopefully we'll have some news one way or the other, and hopefully in a positive direction. And,
Well, as I said earlier, I think the school boards around the state are going to be up in arms. It's not just us.
right,
it's,
it's a major topic of discussion right now, Mr. Long,
definitely,
among everyone in the school business.
Dysart.
Thank you. Well, at this time, based on all the discussion, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the transportation routes as submitted and pending the Attorney General's opinion.
Okay. A motion by Ms. Dysart and a second by Dr. Kraft. Any further discussion? Okay, please vote your machines.
Mr. Warner? Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Okay, turn it over to Mr. Egan for insurance.
Yes, the next matter is bid tabulation for 2014/2015 student athletic insurance.
Good evening. You should have the tabulation sheet in your packets. There's quite a bit of information that's crammed onto this one page, but I would like to bring several items to attention. The second column is what our current provider is. And when we sent out the request for quotes, we asked for two types of coverage. We asked for coverage for all students at school and the athletic coverage. And then we asked for just the athletic coverage. So we did get back a number of quotes and a number of different options. But just the price of the premium on the all students and athletes is, and if you look at the next 4 columns, under the heading that says all students, pre-K, 12, Head Start and athletes, the premium for those 4 policies ranges from $48,000 to $42,000. The same policies with the same coverage for only the athletes and extracurricular activities is $32,000. So when we look at the plan coverage, they are all pretty much the same. There are slight differences, but because of the difference in the premium costs, what we are recommending is that we go with the Risk Services of Louisiana, their preferred policy, which is the second column from the left. I'm sorry, second column from the right. Okay. And that's $32,000 a year to cover athletes and extracurricular activity. And we will still have the agreement with Tulane where we will send our injured athletes to Tulane Institute of Sports Medicine, and Tulane will still provide physicians for our football game.
I'd like to make that motion.
We have a motion by Dr. Lewis, a second by Mr. McCoy. Any further questions?
Yes, go ahead.
What was the premium last year?
The premium last year was $45,156.
So it's a decrease.
So it's a decrease, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Long?
So, Mr. Halton, you're saying we covering the same students as we did last year also?
No, this policy would only cover athletes and extracurricular activities like dance teams.
But last year, it covered all students and all athletes.
Right.
So basically, yeah, it's less money, but we're covering less students.
That's correct.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, is it good for us to just cover the athletes and leave the other students out this year?
Well, historically, and I'm going back a few years ago.
Okay.
That's all the coverage was just for the athletes.
When did we start covering everyone?
The last 2 years, I believe, we had all students and athletes. And now, because of the difference in the premium, there's quite a difference between, if we maintain the exact same policy that we have now, it would be $48,000, and it would be $32,000 to go back to cover just the athletes and the extracurricular activity who are more at risk to have some type of an injury.
Okay. Do you recall the last 2 years when we had coverage for everyone, did we have a lot of claims?
No, I would say maybe off the top of my head, we may have had maybe 10 or 15 claims at most. I don't have the exact number. I know it's not a lot.
Okay. So it really wasn't cost effective for us to cover all those students
Well, I mean,
the last couple of years?
in my opinion, I don't think it was, but.
Okay.
Usually, I think, when they covered all the students, the student that was not participating in athletics or extracurricular activities, they had to buy their own policy. Wasn't that the case?
Right.
So whatever that traffic would bear.
Right. We required them
Yeah.
to pay a portion of the premium.
Oh, it was
Yes.
just part of the premium.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If they want it, they can.
Anyone else?
If they want it.
Please motion machine.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Paddock.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. Okay, item number 9 is the tabulation of the RFP for reading, language arts, skills development software for grades K through 12. Mr. Halton, are you going to stay with us for
This
that?
is the tabulation. We only received one response to the proposal, and that was from the vendor that we currently have the service with. And this is a web-based service that the teachers and students can use to help develop reading and language arts skills in connection with Common Core. As I understand it, I really don't know a whole lot about curriculum at all, but that's
But Ms.
how I
Larson is
understand.
here if you have any direct questions. She
Right.
will answer it
Yeah.
for you.
Ms. Larson, do you want to come add anything to the discussion? Would you like to?
Well, as Mr. Harleton said, we did, if you remember, came several months ago asking for permission to bid elementary English language arts materials, and we put out the RFP looking for a software package that was web-based, that we would be able to make sure that our students had multiple opportunities with varied text, with on-level text remediation, that would emphasize the foundational skills, the oral reading language, the fluency, all of those kinds of things that are so important for developing readers or remediation in language arts classrooms, and this is the proposal that we received back. The good news is our teachers are familiar with it, and so the learning curve in terms of implementation won't be there because we've been using it for a while. We just had not sought a competitive price on the software for a while, and we wanted the opportunity to do that.
And so it seems like the program that we've been using, or
Yes,
the
our teachers
individuals
are
out
very
there
happy
that's
with
been.
it, yes.
Okay. All right. Anyone have any other questions for Ms. Larson or Mr. Halton? Ms. Dysart?
Ms. Larson, I'm just curious as to maybe why we only had one bidder?
We were discussing that earlier. It was a little surprised because we do have people coming forward now and saying that they have things that are addressing the higher standards. The only thing I can think of is that things are kind of muddy right now out there at the state level, and perhaps the interest has waned a little bit as we go through that process. As Mr. Harleton may or may not have said, we're suggesting that we go for a year with this particular software package, that we renew for 1 year as the picture becomes perhaps a little clearer with regard to state-directed curricula. And that may be why people are taking maybe a wait-and-see attitude.
Okay.
That's all, Ms. Dysart.
So I guess where the bids were very specific also, right?
Only in terms of addressing foundational reading skills with students and remediation. It was very specific with asking that it address higher standards, that it address oral reading fluency, phonemics awareness, phonics, all of those parts of that reading foundational package. But other than that, the specs that we used are the same that the state is using to vet materials against higher standards as well.
Okay. All right, thank you for that explanation. And we're requesting just a 1-year
Yes, ma'am.
contract?
Well, we did receive a number of different pricing options, and that's on your sheet. But what we're recommending is that we could just go with the 1 year and see how that plays out, and then we can either renew or we can issue a new RFP.
Thank you.
That's
I'll
all,
make
Ms.
the motion at this time.
Okay.
That we accept Lexia Reading Program for 1 year.
Okay, we have a
And
motion
Reading
from
Plus.
Ms.
And Reading Plus.
From Ms. Dysart, a second by Mr. Campbell, but we have Dr. Kraft. Dr. Kraft, go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Larson, this program, it's not an assessment program, it's something to work with your curricular
Yes, sir.
activities
It's
and
not an
embellish
assessment.
this.
Right. It's not an
Yeah.
assessment package in terms of like PARC or LEAP or anything like that. What
Yeah.
it will do, however, is assess an individual child's gaps in his reading skills, and
Okay.
then map out a plan for that student to follow during his remediation time or her remediation time to enhance their skills.
Okay.
But an assessment like PARC, LEAP, benchmarks, or
It
anything,
wouldn't-
no.
Yeah, it wouldn't be something that's utilized to prepare. It would be utilized to help those people where they have a deficiency.
Yes, sir.
It would be spelled out in this particular program.
Yes, sir.
So, and I would assume that this would be higher level thinking and create a little more creative than the curriculum itself has available. It's
both remediation and
embellishment
enrichment.
of your overall curriculum.
Yes, sir. You're
Okay.
correct.
And the teachers seem to be satisfied and how full utilization of it.
They're very familiar with it and have been using it for a couple of years. It changed to web-based about a year or so ago, and we haven't received any real concerns about making a change. So we're confident that this is a good piece of software to not only challenge the students who can run further and faster with it, but also fill the gaps as you suggested.
And a good tool for the teachers.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. So we could save a few $1,000s there. Looks like the 5 years the best deal, but that's not on the floor. So I think $44,000 is a good investment to help the students and also give the teachers a tool for teaching. So I'm for the motion that's on the floor.
That's all, Dr. Kraft. Thank you. And then, as Mr. Halton said, this is going to be a 12-month contract, but we do have an option for 2 extensions on this contract.
Two one-year extensions.
Two
yes,
one-year
ma'am.
extensions, so that at the end of this year, if we find there are things clear up in the muddy waters, we find some other companies that are willing to bid, we can go out for bid, or we can go ahead and exercise our options.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Dysart and a second by Mr. Campbell, so please vote your machine.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. Thank you, Mr. Halton. Moving on to item 10, a discussion of accepting credit cards as a source for receiving payments. Mr. Fernandez, good evening.
Good evening. Okay, what we're here to discuss with you tonight is there's actually this item and the next item are two initiatives that we have looked into and have investigated. Some of it somewhat due to popular demand, somewhat due to in the interest of being more efficient. The first one is gaining the capability to accept credit cards as payment for different types of revenues that we receive, such as fees, lunch fees, fees to different groups. We've had requests from parents in the past and other members of the community to look into accepting credit cards as payment. Some people want to pay with their credit card rather than write a check or bring cash. So we've been looking into this over the past few months, and we got some help from our friends at Gulf Coast Bank. We also talked with Capital One, but we think the way to go is with the option not offered by Gulf Coast Bank, but kind of facilitated by them. They put us in contact with a company called First Data, who is an intermediary that works with businesses and credit card companies and that. And basically, it's not very difficult to go through this process. All we need is the equipment to scan the credit cards and the like. And there is going to be some fees that are associated with the use of a credit card. Because when you accept a credit card as a merchant, there's a fee a nominal fee that the credit card company will charge, and then the intermediary will get a fee as well. And it's different for each credit card company, but we have some examples here. We're looking at Visa, MasterCard, and Discover Card. American Express has much higher fees, which is why a lot of businesses don't accept American Express cards. But as an example, when we looked into it, the Visa fees for a credit card would be 1.43% of the transaction. And the first data fee to broker the deal or be the intermediary is 5 cents. So if there was a transaction of $100, the fee would be $1.48 on that transaction. MasterCard is a little different. Their fee is 1.89% plus 10 cents, or for $100, $1.99. And Discover Card would be 1.45% plus 5 cents, which would be $1.50 on $100 transaction. So it's a very nominal fee, but it's kind of the cost of doing that, because that's how credit cards make their money. Part of it is from merchants paying them for the honor of being able to accept their credit cards, and the other is through interest that people will pay on their credit card balances. So there are nominal fees, but it would be a service that we could offer to parents and to other members of the community that have to do as an option, should they wish to avail themselves of it. And we also would have the ability to accept debit cards as well at a lesser fee. There's still a fee involved, but it's a lesser fee than the credit card fee. But what it will also allow us to do, which is another initiative that we've been looking into, is being able to accept payments online. And that's something that school districts around the state have been looking into and starting to implement, is the ability for parents to go online through some portal and pay fees, such as lunch fees. They can go online and add money to their child's lunch account. so that they can eat in school through the lunch program and the like. And these are all things that will make things more convenient for the parents. Like I said, there has been some demand in the past. There are some instances where, for instance, some of our performing groups, people that are cheerleaders or charmers, or even enrolling their students in driver's education, some of those fees are a little bit more than they would normally pay for little things, and they would prefer to put on a credit card. So we'll give our parents an option. We've had businesses that want to make donations that would like to put on a corporate credit card. This will give us the ability to accept those transactions. And it's something that we would like to pilot somewhat at Sherman High School to begin with, since that's the school with the most activity. And also here at the central office to allow us to accept transactions for any school, pretty much. And it's something that we'd like to start for the beginning of the school year. So we wanted to present it to you to let you know what's going on and answer any questions you might have.
Mr. England.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, sir.
That's a great idea, but what we should do is give the parents options, because we are being charged for these fees.
Yes, sir.
If we give an option where they pay, say they're paying $100 for a fee, if they pay extra $5 or whatever.
Right. Well, what our intention is to do something like you said, maybe not that high, but maybe a graduated fee for different levels of transactions, $50 or less, $50 to $100, and so forth. Maybe tax on a couple of dollars.
Right, and if they pay by cash or they pay by
yeah,
check.
they pay, yeah. Like for instance, today I got online and renewed my automobile registration with the state through their website. And I used the credit card, and I had to pay a $2 fee to do that. If I would have mailed in a check, it would have been $2 less. I wouldn't have had to pay that fee.
But the best thing for the individuals to do is bill pay. All right, and that bill pay, you just go on the computer and you just put your bill, your amount in there, and it automatically, there's no fees on that.
Right. Well, that would send the money to us outside of the credit card system.
Right. I mean, I'm talking for the normal person.
Yes, sir.
Paying that bill right there.
Yeah.
But,
Well, we do have some people that do bill pay, and we'll get checks from banks or Quicken or wherever, the people that have that kind of service. We do get that occasionally as well. Well, we don't really participate in PayPal. You would have to set up a PayPal account.
Right.
And there are probably additional fees associated with that.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, it's an option that we can offer to people.
As long as you have that option, I have no problems.
Yes, sir. Oh, no, it won't be a requirement at all. It'll be an option to them. And the only time this fee happens is if the transaction happens. There's no other fees. There's no banking fees.
Right.
The money will go directly to the school's bank accounts. And the only time the fee occurs is if a transaction occurs. There's no other really cost related to that other than initial setup cost.
Okay, fine. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. England. That's all. Dr. Kraft.
Yeah, Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, sir.
It seems like that this is a good move, because a lot of people, I see them all around, they'll pull that debit or that credit card out and utilize that. A lot of people just don't carry a lot of cash with them, so I think this would be good for us to offer this service to the school community, and I would be in favor of it. Do we have a motion on the floor relative to this? I move that we move in this direction to offer this service. Well, whatever.
We'll just pilot it, and then we can expand it.
Yeah.
If it works
In other words, we just say, and then let the school system decide. Yeah. I mean, it's open.
No, it'll be, you can go into the school, yes.
Yeah.
And you need a machine.
Yes, we'd have to,
It's
that's
just
the
that
set
they
part of the
have to get
setup.
into the
And
rotation here.
what we can get is not only a stationary, like when you go into a store and use your credit card, you have a swipe machine there.
Yeah, you put
We'll have
the
one of
little-
those in the office, and they also have mobile machines that they can take to a meeting or to the football stadium for the football games and things like that. So they're not tied into a stationary position.
For the concession line.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Long?
I'm glad you're going to pilot this at the high school level. At first, and before you mentioned online, I was thinking about instead of a parent sending a child with school with lunch money, give them a credit card to pay for his lunch. But I can see where we've all got accustomed to the use of debit cards, and it's probably a good system. And I think many parents would probably like to do that. How does most parents pay for their lunch? Is it weekly, monthly?
It varies. Some people will send a check for the month or the week. Some people will pay by the day. Some people will charge a little bit and then catch up. It's different. But
do parents still send like their children with the lunch money every day?
for the most part, yes, sir. That's the only method of collection we have at this time. If we can move to the online system, then they'll have the ability to log on to the system and add the money themselves, so they don't have to send it with their children.
Sounds like a good option for our parents. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas Delon? Okay. Ms. Dyson?
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez, it seems like it would be definitely a convenience for our parents. I have just a couple of questions. The machines, would that cost us anything?
There would be
or is
initial setup cost of a few $100s to purchase the machine.
How much? Few.
Like about $300, $400, $500, depending on what type of machine you get.
Okay.
But it's a one-time cost, you know.
Okay. And then a debit card, that wouldn't be a cost to the school system. That would be a cost to their bank, correct? So
that would be a transaction fee just like the credit card. So we would add an additional fee, as we discussed, for whatever the graduated level of it is, you know, like you would pay $1 if you're charging $100 or 50 cents or something, depending on the size of the transaction.
I thought debit cards had, there was a charge to their bank for.
I don't know if on their end there's a charge, but this
But
would be
we-
the transaction charge for the transaction that takes place. Personally, I don't use a debit card. I'm a little behind in the time, so I don't know if there's an additional charge on their bank account for that, but they would know that if they're using a debit card.
Okay. And then, could you maybe have some kind of a schedule where, of fees, if it's, like you said, you know, a certain amount, how much the fee would
Yes,
be?
ma'am.
Could you have that for the next meeting?
Sure, we can work something
Please.
out, certainly.
So we would know exactly, you know, what we.
Yeah, and it would be a
It would
nominal
be-
fee. It would be a nominal fee, maybe a couple of
nominal fee.
dollars, you know, depending on the size of the transaction. Now, if somebody's coming to pay $1,000 on all the kids' fees and that, it might be a little more substantial than a couple of dollars, but,
And it would definitely be based on whatever the credit card
Right.
company would be charging us.
yes, ma'am, we're not looking to make any money
No
off of the
money, right.
process. It's just
Just
to
what
cover
the-
the transaction fee that will be charged for the transaction.
Okay, good. All right, well, thank you.
Ms. Thomas Dyson? Mr. Egan?
I have one little question. Of course, it has to do with the actual accounting. This would be every transaction, such as a child comes to school and he goes to eat, you'd have to have a card and pay it. Is that correct?
No,
Or-
sir. The parent can do one of several things. They can do as they do now. They can send a check to the school to be added to their child's account. They can send money with their child to be presented at the point of service, or they can contact the school and pay with the credit card, either online or go into the school themselves and pay with the credit card.
The first one's the one. Let's say I have a child and I want to pay for his month for food, okay?
Yes.
For meals, okay? I send you $100. I don't know what the cost would be.
Yes, sir.
But what happens then if the kid doesn't show up for 5 days? Let's say he's sick. Isn't
money
that going to
stays-
cause that a lot more accounting?
No, because our current system is, we have, our food service department has an software system that maintains each child's account.
Oh,
If you
okay.
add $100 to your child's account, he eats, then it will deduct the fee for that day, either breakfast or lunch. If the child doesn't eat, then the money stays in the account until the next time he comes back. If at the end of the year, he hasn't eaten or he hasn't used up all the money, then we can give a refund to the parent
Okay.
for the excess in the account.
So right now, y'all have a plan, or you have it
Yeah, we have an
already?
existing system that has been in place for several years.
Because I could see somebody saying, well, my kid was sick for 5 days.
Right.
And, you collected $100, I should be getting the credit.
Yeah, well,
I'm
that's it.
wondering about the accounting that we would have
That
to
system
take.
is in place, and it can show, if someone wants to inquire, Mrs. Bloom could print out a report of every day that the child ate, what they ate, when they ate, how much money was deducted from their account, what the remaining balance is, and the things like that. And if we can move to working with her software program as well, we would work with this software program. And in that online access, there's the potential to have the parent to have the ability to even look up and see how much money is in the account, and what the balance is, and how much they want to add. And
You answered my question. Thank you, Mr. Fernandez.
you're welcome.
So actually, Mr. Fernandez, the whole idea behind this is just to add another convenience for our parents in having a different option in which to pay any types of fees or services that their children would need paid
Absolutely.
at school. And we're going to start it at Shelmet High School, which is reasonable because at the high school level, you do have more fees, choirmans, cheerleaders, athletics, you have a lot more fees, and at the central office. And then is the idea of seeing how this works, is this is going to expand so that each individual school has a way to accept this, or is it just going to be centrally located and then funneled to the school?
We're going to assess the need or the efficiency of putting it at each school. If there's a need, of course, we can expand it to any school. If there's a school, maybe an elementary school, that doesn't collect a whole lot in fees or things like that, they might not want it, but we could have it available to them in the form of the mobile.
The little handheld.
The mobile
machine,
handheld things that
yes.
we'll have at the central office, so if school X is having an event that they would like to use or have credit card capability, we could bring that mobile unit rather than paying and have a station there that'll sit idle most of the time. We can bring it to them, and they can use it for that one particular day, if it's a parents' club meeting or some kind of function that they might need it for. We can make arrangements with them if we feel that it's not feasible to set up a station at every individual school. But we're going to assess that in the future, once we see how it works at Shelmet High School.
Right. I think the high school is a good place to start to pilot the program because with the students being older, there's a lot more activities that they're involved in where there's extra fees above the norm that the students would use. And of course, the central office in case anything needs to be paid.
And the parent would always have the option to come into the central office and pay a fee for any school.
Right.
I mean, we could accept the payments for any school or.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering, would it filter to every school or would it be the high school, obviously, because so much happens there.
Right.
That would make it more convenient, and then maybe the central office for.
Right, it would probably be the high school, definitely, the middle schools, most probably, some of the larger elementary schools, and, maybe it would go to every school.
I think
We'll have to see the feasibility of it after
Yeah.
we get
I
into
think
it.
if we can make things more convenient for the parents, then if that's an option, then, it's good to do so because parents today are much busier and they're running around crazy, and everybody likes to use that credit card or that debit card, and then it shows up on a statement, and they can keep track of what they're doing, and especially, as you said, with the corporate accounts now, sometimes they like to have that, instead of a canceled check, because the banks don't send checks anymore, they can have it on their credit card statements, and, if that will help someone donate money to the school, I don't mind having a credit
Absolutely.
card scanner, so. I did not see where we needed a motion on this, but we do have a motion by Dr. Kraft and a second by Dr. Lewis. Do we need to vote on this, or is this just?
No, that's fine.
I have one more question.
Okay, Ms. Dysart, go ahead.
The motion on the floor, does it include the online payment also that we discussed?
Yeah, we'd like to
It would
do that as
include the
well.
online
Yes, ma'am.
payment, which would be no fee
Correct.
to the parents. Okay, good. Thank you.
It includes everything that would have to do with having the credit
Yeah,
cards
yes, ma'am.
taken. Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Kraft and a second by Dr. Lewis. Does anyone else have any questions or comments before we vote? Okay, please vote your machines.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. And item 11, are you staying with us, Mr. Fernandez? Discussion
Yes,
of
ma'am.
moving to a paper-free system for payroll checks.
Yes, ma'am. This is something that we are going to move to. We want to inform you of it and what are we going to have available to our employees in the future. As you know, over the past several years, we've been trying to move to a more paperless environment. We've been scanning things into the computer so we don't have so much paper around, things of that nature. Well, one of the most paper-intensive things we do is our payroll. We print payroll advices. As you know, we require direct deposit of all our employees, and that's a benefit that they kind of enjoy. The money goes directly to their bank account every payday. But we still print the advice to give them of the direct deposit. It's not a negotiable instrument. It's just a piece of paper that has all the numbers on it. Well, that's kind of costly as well. It could be we spend thousands of dollars a year just for the paper stock to print that, as well as wear and tear on printers, toner, the microtoner, the special kind of toner that we have to do sometimes. So with the Munis financial package that we implemented 2 years ago, there's a portal that's available called Employee Self-Service. And it allows employees to log on to the system through the internet. So they don't have to be here. They can do it from home. They can do it from anywhere they want. They log into the system, and it makes available to them copies of any check that they've received, not only the current one, but any in the past. They can look at W-2 forms. They can look at W-4 forms and change their deductions. It also offers what they call a paycheck simulator, which means it'll pull up a copy of that paycheck. They can change their deductions, and it'll show them the effect. So it's a pretty nice system, and we're going to roll that out this coming year to our employees. And in doing so, since they're going to have that capability, we would like to not stop the printing of the advices. We also could, if the employee wishes and requests, we could email a copy of it to them. Set up to do that. But we would like to implement this, and since this is available, and this is something school districts around the state are moving to as a cost-cutting measure. It allows the employee to have access to information, and really even more than they're getting now. But it'll also be a cost-cutting measure. We won't have to keep that stock in place. We don't have to expend the money for those forms in the future. So that's something we also would like to implement at the beginning of the year. And we'll fully train all the employees, send them out documentation, tell them how to log on, you know, what their password is, things like that. But it's very simple to use, and I think the employees would really like it once they get into it. But,
So this is just for information only, correct, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, ma'am.
And just to give everyone a heads up, you won't be getting your little copies in the mail anymore.
Right. We will still print checks for our substitutes because they're not really in our direct deposit system. So we will have a much lesser amount of printing of paychecks on payday.
Very good. Plus, we'll save on the mailings, too. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. We won't have to mail out advices during the summer.
Okay, Mr. Long, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, so they would be able to go online and view their check stubs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In fact, not just their check stub, any check stub, but
any
actually we have
past
for the past
check.
2 years
Good.
we've been in a system. They could go in now and view every check stub they got for the last 2 years,
Great,
as well as
great.
W-2s. We always, every year, when we send out the W-2s to people, we're constantly getting calls from people wanting another copy of the W-2 because they misplaced the first one. Well, now they just have to get online, pull it up and print it out, and it'll give them all that information.
I think that's very important that they're able to view their check stubs, because I know myself, I had through the Office of Group Benefits, when they had a rate increase.
Yes, sir.
In viewing my check stub, I noticed they had the wrong amount taken out. I brought it to Cindy's attention, and she straightened it out with the state. But had I not had that check stub, it might have went on and on with the wrong amount for a while. You know, so that's important.
No, they'll continue to have full access to all that information.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, thank you, Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you.
And then we turn it back over to Dr. Kraft to turn it back over to Ms. Boccia.
Ms. Oche, item 12, with your recommendations.
Just that we've had a request from the state of Louisiana's oil spill coordinator, that office, I didn't know we had such an office, but to access some 16th section land. It's to, and we're not quite sure exactly what the request is for, but it's in conjunction with the BP oil spill. So I'm just bringing this to your attention. We're going to refer it to our attorney, who's handling that, so he can talk directly with the person before we would invite them to come to the meeting to explain to you what their request is. So I just wanted to give you a little heads up on it. So possibly at the regular board meeting, we will ask them to come and give a presentation with you, but after speaking with our attorney, just to make sure what exactly they're looking for.
Ms. Philj, what about the wildlife and fishery? The wildlife and fishery wants to do a study on the turtles right there.
Right.
And so now they come in here, want to,
Well, now
what kind of conflict we're going to have there?
Oh, I don't think it'll be a conflict. I'm not even sure if it's really in the same area per se. But once we got the indication here that they were doing it in conjunction with BP in terms of the oil spill, before I would even let it get any further, I just want their people to talk with our attorney just to make sure that we're all on the same page before we invite them to come and do a presentation.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you all a little bit heads up that we have had that request, and it's from the state of Louisiana now to do that. But just want to be a little bit more cautious before we invite anyone to come and do this. Now, I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe oil-coated turtles or something, I don't know.
All right. We entertain our motion to adjourn.
Say something. I move we adjourn.
All right. Do we have a second? Second. We got a second. All in favor of adjourning indicate by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. We stand adjourned. See you July the 22nd.